Hello, everybody. My name is Sabina Miller. You are watching Seniors for Seniors. This show or program, whatever you want to call it, is about people who help seniors. It's about a senior lifestyle. Get out of the house, and people say, and go where? We have very interesting guests who can help you. My guest today is in real estate. And when I met him and asked him what he did, he said he was in real estate. I said, oh. He said, but I'm a specialist. And I said, what does that mean? A house is a house. He said, I specialize in senior housing. I said, oh, you mean like independent living, assisted living, long-term care? He said, no. I said, well, then why do they need a specialist? He tells them, and nowadays, if you watch television, you watch the House and Garden channel, there are certain things that sell a home, there are certain things that make your home impossible to sell. He goes in, he tells them what to do. He can sell your home, he can buy you another one. And it's time to say hello to my guest today, Jeff Stone. He is not, well, I was going to say he's not a local boy. He's with Laffey's in Port Washington, but he sells all over the North Shore.
Well, it's not with Laffey's. I left Laffey's. I'm with Caldwell.
When?
A month ago. Didn't you get the memo?
I don't do computer. Well, that's what we old people are behind the times, because we don't do computer. He is with Caldwell. Where are they? I didn't know they were
Coldwell
around.
Banker in Manhasset in Port Washington.
Ho, ho. Okay. All right. Now, what I don't understand is this, and this is for my own information, and I'm curious about everything. You're either an independent real estate agent or you're with one of the big companies. What is the difference?
Not much, really. I'm an independent contractor. That's what realtors are. And my shingle, if you will, is hanging with the Coldwell Banker residential brokerage firm. And that's where I'm at now.
But does that bring in more business for the individual, or?
Not necessarily. It gives you a larger platform, per se, for your marketing efforts to help your clients to market their homes and for more people to see it online or in print. And that's the advantage of being with a big house brokerage. They have more tools available to the agent.
Well, if you are in the Manhasset, Port Washington office,
Yes.
can you sell in other towns?
I do, quite a bit. I've sold in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, and I've sold land out in East Hampton, and everything in between, South Shore, North Shore. Part of my business comes from Queens, where I originally came from. Right now, I have business going on in the North Shore of Nassau County, and I love it. I travel wherever people bring me, wherever the need is.
Well, I'm not going to say do seniors sell differently than younger people do, but seniors sell, I find, for different reasons. Either the husband passed away and the wife is going to live near the children, or, you know, in their Florida place.
Right. All that is very important. Firstly, the reason why I became a seniors real estate specialist, I'm a realtor first, but I specialize in helping homeowners to downsize and relocate. There's a great need for that. A lot of folks don't know where to turn to for help with regards to organizing and getting rid of their stuff. What do they do with all their stuff? Where are they going to go? A lot of times I ask homeowners when I go to an open house, if they're there, I ask them, where are you going? And they said, I don't know. I said, how can you not know? Well, my agent didn't sit down. I said, that's terrible. So what I offer through my concierge services, as I call them, as I sit down with the homeowner or homeowners, and I even invite their adult kids, because a lot of the times they need to be in the know.
Yeah.
Sometimes they can make or break the whole thing. But you see, what I explain to the adult kids is that sometimes you look at mom and dad through different eyes, through younger eyes, and you have a friend that may be in real estate. It's not the same thing. So what I do, as a specialist, I come in and I look through their eyes, what's best for mom or dad. And that's truly what I want to do, because there's not enough help out there. As a matter of fact, I've done it so much and so well that the National Association of Realtors gave me the SRES, which is Seniors Real Estate Specialist Outstanding Service Award in 2014. They flew me down to New Orleans and I picked up a fancy candy dish.
Wow.
And the town of North Hempstead recognized me also in 2014 as a seniors advocate. So I do walk the walk and talk the talk.
Well, I know that, you know, because I know a lot of realtors, and I know that in real estate you are considered, when I say good, not just finding the property, how you treat the family. And,
yes, with respect.
Yeah.
And take great care, because it's probably been some time since the older homeowner has bought and sold, and everything has changed. We don't have the big book anymore. We open up saying, well, here's where you can go. And no, you have to sit down and discuss their options. A lot of the times they want to know where they are going to move to before they actually list the home. They also need to prep their house for sale to make it more sellable.
Yeah.
All right, and I have experts on my team, from plumbers, electricians, handymen, a senior move manager that can help you organize and declutter.
Wait a minute, when you say you have a team,
Yes.
if I wanted to sell my house but the bathtub's been clogged up, I really need a new bathtub, I didn't want to stay home and wait for the plumber, you can refer me to a good plumber in
Yes.
my area?
And a lot of the times it's not getting a new bathtub, it's just fixing what you have. You see, I try to save the homeowner some money. If you don't have to lay out all this cash, why do it? To me, the best thing in the world is a thorough cleaning, like a Mr. Clean, spick and span.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. That and decluttering or depersonalizing. Sometimes I see all the magnets, all the countries that folks have been to on their refrigerator. Their kids dating back to the 1600s on the walls, you know, and it looks beautiful and it's very personal. But as a home buyer coming in to see yourself in the home, they don't share the same. You know.
Well, I know that when you told me that you specialized in senior,
Yes.
and I said, don't they buy and sell homes like other people? And you said, and one of the things I'm addicted to is the House and Garden channel. I love
Right.
it. And you said something which I've heard 100 times on that channel. Buyers now are interested in kitchens and bathrooms. And you then said, for instance, in the kitchen. And I thought you had been in my home. You described my kitchen counter with the portable microwave, with the toaster, with the juice maker, with the Mr. Coffee, with the Mixmaster, and all the children and grandchildren on the refrigerator.
Right, right.
And you said, get rid of it. Maybe put a little plant in the corner. They come in and say, wow, great counter space.
I always say less is more. The less you have on the counter, the better it is for the buyer to envision themselves being in your home. That's the whole idea. So prepping the house for sale, it may not be the right time to list the house because you need to do certain things. And they could be minimal things, like I said, cleaning, decluttering. It could be maybe a fresh coat of paint if it really needs it, maybe a little landscaping. I provide these services. And to spiff up the saleability of your home, I may offer a free home warranty extended to the buyer for a year, or a pre-home inspection.
So are you saying that if you come in as the realtor and I'm selling, I don't have to, and if I'm selling, I know that it's got to be made more saleable, you know.
Right.
I don't have to find my own painter, my own plumber, my own guy who's going to wash the rugs and
Not at all. I
vacuum.
have
You
assembled
have a
over the
staff.
years a real tried and true group of people, professionals that will help you from everything from A to Z, soups to nuts, and I recommend them all the time, whether it's a co-op, condo, or a luxury home, and everything in between.
Wow.
It's a complete service that I offer. It's not so much of promoting myself in a magazine or newspaper saying, look at me, I listed this property. It's more about you and what I can do to make your home more saleable, more marketable.
And a happy customer
and spending
will tell
money.
their neighbors and everybody if you're selling, you know, or buying, call Jeff Stone.
And I have many contacts, you know, because not just being a seniors real estate specialist, but I'm also a certified buyer representative, so I understand the mindset of buyers that are coming to your home. I'm also a resort and second property vacation home expert. I know a lot of 55 and over communities and not 55 and over communities along the East Coast. I've established a relationship with these folks.
Oh, it's now 55?
Some are. and Long Island, I know a lot of the 55 and over communities on Long Island because I've been to many of them. And sometimes when we sit down, I'll say, well, look, what is it that interests you about moving, say, if we decide or you decide that being on Long Island is what you want to do? Is it guided by price, location? Is it being near the kids? Do you want certain amenities, a pool, a gym? Do you want a 24-hour gated community? So we go into all of this. And I will find you several communities, and I'll bring you to them. All right?
Well, it's also, when I moved, because I had a very big house, and my thing was, I want an apartment because if there's a leak in the roof, it's not my problem. If there's water in the basement, it's not my problem. Right. Because I live on the first floor, when it snows, when I wake up in the morning, I can hear the super out there
right.
plowing. You know, it's if the wash machine breaks, somebody comes and fixes it.
Yes, that's why my wife and I downsized from homes ourselves, and we're now in a first floor, 2-bedroom co-op in Port Washington. And it's great. We just lock the door and go. As a matter of fact, last night we just came back from upstate New York, a few days there. And all we had to do was lock the door and go, and everything's taken care of.
What is the difference between a co-op and a condo?
Well, co-op, you have...
you own your apartment.
You have shares. You're a shareholder.
Yeah.
Okay? And with a condo, you own it outright. All right? So you have common charges and maybe homeowners association charges with a condo, and you pay maintenance with a co-op. So you have shares as a shareholder within the community.
Yes, but also then with a co-op, you're a little restricted in improvements or changes that you make. Don't you have
Not
to
necessarily.
run it by the
Well,
co-op?
you have with a condo, you have to run it by the homeowners association. Any structural changes inside the apartment, electrical, plumbing, have to do the same thing with a co-op. All right, you have to send it for board approval and with the town permit, licensed and insured contractor. All that is in place. But you're responsible from the paint inside, paint on the walls on the inside, just like you would in a condo. It's just that sometimes co-ops can be a little bit more restrictive as to maybe pets, okay?
Yeah.
Cats, dogs, both.
In my building, no pets.
Right.
And there was also, I don't know what it is because I don't use the terrace anymore, something about they were restricting your barbecuing.
Yes, well, in the co-op community that I live in, I'll put a plug in for them. It's Tom's Point, beautiful place. They have gas lines, and if they don't, they can install the gas lines on your terrace or patio, and you can hook up a gas grill, and it's wonderful. So you can dine al fresco if you want, overlooking Manhasset Bay in this case.
Yeah, well, that's why people live in Port Washington, Manhasset,
Yes.
Great Neck, whatever, because we're surrounded by water.
It's easy.
And that's good unless there's a flood.
Right. So, these communities that have the co-ops and condos, such as Great Neck, wonderful area, the plaza section, they have a great amount of condos and co-ops. And it's so nice because it's close to shopping, transportation, the best Long Island Railroad line, on Long Island, goes right into Manhattan. It's easy. So people are looking to downsize, make the house more manageable, all right? Not having to do outside maintenance, not having to take care of maintenance costs as they come up, whether it's a roof, the outside, the garden,
Well,
what have
that's what I say. You
Yeah.
know, if there's a problem, and I'm in the plaza, and we must have, well, I know that I'm kitty corner from a building that is 7 stories high. Most of them are 2 or well, 3, some are 4.
Right.
7, do you know how many people live in one building?
Sure, absolutely.
And I find that very few, well, we have a couple of 52 apartments. We have maybe 3 single young career ladies.
Right.
We have an awful lot of senior citizens.
Right. Now, what happens when a co-op, a condo, is not something that the home seller is looking for? Or
Yeah, but they may want to rent.
they may want to rent, or at least for a year, and not just on Long Island, or maybe elsewhere in the country, or internationally,
Near their children or
Yes.
in Florida.
to get lay of the land, all right, get a view of the landscape and make sure that this is the place they want to be in. If not, if they buy
They're
and it turns out
stuck.
to be a mistake, that's
They're
it.
stuck.
Boy, big time. I've heard stories like that. So I always advise folks, spend a little time in that area. At least visit it. Maybe, go there for a couple of weeks, drive around, see what it's like, the town. Make sure the amenities are there. Is it close to a college town, some place where you can learn? Incidentally, most places are cold weather states that people will gravitate to. All right, because of these university towns, getting a little pre-retirement job, not ready to retire, but a part-time job, it's great. So they have all the actions going there. They have parks, recreations, walkabouts, if you will, hiking trails. So there's something for everybody that's out there. It's not just price guided, but it's also the amenities that are offered, and it's not just necessarily warm weather states. All right.
But I think the difference now is, and I find myself saying more and more often, in the old days,
Yes.
you just rented an apartment from somebody. Now you have to, the realtor has to know the neighborhood, what's available.
Right.
Yes, there are colleges you can take adult education courses because nowadays it seems to me the seniors I know are intellectually curious,
Right.
or there's a running club or something or other. You have to really not just know, you want a 2-bedroom, it's available in that building. You have to know the answer to 15 questions about the community.
Well, what I do, I spend time in the towns that my clients or customers are interested in moving to. And I'll know more about that time by the end of the day, if you will. I'll know what's offered in the way of amenities, if it's close to transportation. Don't have to worry about schools because, the kids have left the coop.
Yeah.
All right. But again, what attractions are nearby? Is it near the Jones Beach? Is it near the Hamptons? Is it near the North Fork wineries? So there's a lot of things that go into making that decision. And some people like to age not just in place, but age within their town. All right. So if they're living in a big 3,500 square foot home, say in Port Washington Estates, Manhasset Bay Estates, Manhasset, Plandome, what have you, Great Neck, they go to maybe a smaller home, maybe a ranch. Okay. Maybe they do a rental. Maybe they go into a co-op where I live, or a condo.
See, I would think that a ranch as opposed to an upstairs
Right,
and
so
downstairs
all the living on
for
one floor.
seniors, I think that would be perfect for them.
Right.
And then again, as I say, if you're in an apartment, you don't worry that it's snowing and I won't be able to get the car out of the garage tomorrow because my husband's too old to shovel. I'm
Right.
certainly not going to shovel. I'm
Right.
at the mercy of a kid that comes by and says, you want your driveway shoveled.
Right, right. And it's very important to be honest with the homeowner. I advise them, to the best of my ability, to make the right decision. We sit down, we'll discuss their options. and then they will make an informed decision with their spouse or their adult children or others. And a lot of the times I'll say, you know something, moving right now is not such a good idea. Why don't you wait a couple of years? Other times I'll say, no, right where you are is perfect. You have everything going for you. Why move? All right? Other times, you should have moved last week. All right? That's when you pass the tipping point
Yeah.
of whether you should go or stay. All right? A lot of the times we're not honest with ourselves, but if we have the capacity to do that, we'll understand that, you know something, the only thing that's holding me back is a little fear of the unknown.
You know what? You say a little fear. I am really senior. I call myself a senior. And when you're young, you have fears, but they're different fears. I'm
Right.
going out on a blind date. Is he going to like me? Well, he didn't, so I'll go out on another blind date. When you're older,
Yes.
you have different fears in that I find with my crowd, with my
Right.
friends, and I have make a distinction between a friend and an acquaintance.
Yes.
And if you have 3 good friends, you're pretty lucky.
Right.
I find that I had 2 friends who died of the same disease,
Right.
and we were a crowd, and the 3rd one now is sick in bed with that disease.
Right.
I had a friend who was an artist, fell, broke both arms, both legs, went to live in long-term care in New Jersey near her children.
Right.
You know, my fear is my crowd is dwindling.
Right.
You know, there's in an emergency, who am I going to call?
Right.
My daughter's in Alabama, my son's upstate, and not really consciously, but when you realize, oh, that one's gone, and you have to think positively and say, okay, I'm sure they'd rather be here in my place.
Right. See, all of this, Sabina, is very important, what we've discussed, so much so that I also hosted a radio show, a Long Island radio show, WHLI. It was called The Senior Moment. And we talked about your housing options. We had folks on the show like Controller George Maragos. We've had you on the show before. We've had a senior move manager on the show, an elder law attorney on the show, a real estate attorney on the show, and so on and so on, even an estate sales person. And all of that is to let you know that there are professionals out there, but where to look for them, how to find them, and how to make use of all the information you see.
You know, I was very impressed with your radio show. Was that at a Huntington or close to Huntington where you broadcast?
Well, that was out of, it was broadcast in Hempstead, but the station itself was on Route 110 in Farmingdale.
Okay, yeah. Well, to me, everything that side of 110 is Huntington.
It's all commercial.
Yeah, but I like the fact that there is more and more and more informative
Yes.
shows, entertainment, whatever you want to call it, for seniors. People
Right.
are recognizing, wow, there are a lot of old folk around.
It was a highly regarded show. We provided a lot of information. And a gentleman long ago told me, he says, Jeff, when you help people, provide information freely. Don't expect anything in return. Just give it. All right? And I do. And I really want to help people. They do need help. And it's different working with the older homeowner. It's a much different set of skills. Not everybody is good for the job, even though they may have a real estate license.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a physician. You're going to have your primary care physician take care of something, maybe your heart, lungs. Well, my primary care physician also is my cardiologist. All right, so he specializes in being a cardiologist, as I specialize in helping seniors. So,
but if you need a foot doctor, you don't want your heart doctor.
exactly right.
So do you find that seniors are, well, you haven't been in it that long because you're young.
Oh, thank you.
So
I'm over 60. That's good.
you're young.
Yes.
But, to me, I think, well, my senior friends, the seniors I know, are different than my grandmother's were.
Yes.
You know, my senior friends go to business.
Right.
My grandmother didn't go to business when she was young.
I know you're very active. I meet a lot of seniors that are very active. Recently sold a ladies' co-op, 92 years old, and she was tough as nails. Okay, and another lady, it took 2 years to come to grips about selling her home, and when she did, when she was in the process of selling, or we were, she felt great. She couldn't leave fast enough. She was going to go be near her kids in California. So things like this happen all the time.
You know what I'd like to know? I guess it's called an independent agent, or you're associated with a real
Well, I'm an
estate.
independent contractor.
Okay, but you work with Coldwell Banker?
Yes.
And what's the advantage?
It's the marketing platform that Coldwell offers you. Name recognition internationally, okay? Because one of my designations as a realtor also happens to be a certified international property specialist. I know folks from all over the world, literally, from Japan to Costa Rica, as continental as Key West. But I know people from all over the world through this association of professionals. There's only about 36 of us on Long Island out of about 20,000 plus realtors that have this designation. I'm one of them.
Every street I drive down. In fact, in my building, we have 52 families, and I don't know everybody in the building, but I do know that we have 5 real estate agents living there.
Right.
In fact, the only person I've ever been jealous of in my life is a real estate agent who lives there on the 1st floor, and then her mother came to live on the 2nd floor, and then her son got married and came to live on the 3rd floor, and now they have a baby. And I'm jealous because the 4 generations are right in that building.
Right. Well, you know something? That's a club sandwich. Seriously, when you think of it, I sold a lady's home in the Flatbush section of Brooklyn. Now, why did I go to Brooklyn? Well, because an older homeowner needed my help. I'm willing to drive. That's the difference. I come from Queens. Can you imagine how diverse Queens is? The most diverse county in the world, not just the United States. But anyway, going back to Brooklyn here, it was the homeowner and her husband staying on the 2nd floor. The mom, who was 90 years old, on the 1st floor. The daughter and her daughter in the basement apartment.
Wow.
And now she's living in Atlanta, Georgia. She moved. She's
Wow.
happy. Yeah. So
That's
you see
amazing. I'm looking, excuse me, audience. I think somebody came in, but the lights are blinding me. And, well, I can't tell what he's telling me.
Might be time to say it's a wrap.
Oh, I'm disappointed.
We're going so well here.
I really, really have learned an awful lot. Not that I'm thinking of buying or selling, but I am curious about it. And because I'm out so much, people ask me questions. However, they tell me here, they don't ask me, they're telling me, our time is up. Thank you, Jeff Stone, so much. Thank you for tuning in. Hope to see you next month when I have a new guest.
Thank you for having me, Sabina.
My pleasure and their pleasure.